Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back for another card review. So in this video, we're going to talk about Yoko and why do I create this video so late despite this card being revealed to us last week is because of her playstyle. Alright, so Yoko here, since today they have reviewed all the non-jackpot cards, right? So we're going to take a look at the in-depth opinion of Yoko and how she's going to fare as a jackpot card. Okay, so we're going to start off with the leader skill. So it's a human and Gurren playstyle, right? So you can bring human from other series or even the original Manhead series, or you can play a Gurren playstyle. Okay, so number 1, team attack times 5, HP times 1.3. So you can see that it's kind of a bit lower than standard multiplier, right? So number 2 is where the buff comes in. The more characters of Gurren in the team, identical monster will be counted as 1. Okay, so that's obvious. So the more runestones moving time to be extended, right? So identical monster will be counted as 1 is to probably prevent people from flexing mono Yoko and stuff like that, okay, which don't really work in my opinion. Okay, so number 1, the more characters of Gurren, the more runestone moving time to the max 5 seconds for 5 characters. So you have a mono Gurren, so that's going to be your maximum spin time available for you, right? So number 2, the higher the team attack, that increases additionally to the max times 4 for 5 characters. So if you bring one card lesser, right, that would be a times 3 instead of a times 4. So that is actually quite a decent drop in terms of multiplier, right? So sad to say, you probably have to play full Gurren for this gameplay, right? Unless the human card that you bring in is a booster card, right? For example, like Media. For example, like I can't think of any card in mind at this moment, right? But you get the idea. Okay, so with that, let's move on to the team skill of Yoko. Okay, so Yoko's team skill: fire equal to heart, heart equal to fire, right? Which is like pretty much every single fire human playstyle out there right now. For example, Hisoka, for example, Pompey, even though she's not human, fire human, but this playstyle is getting pretty boring in my opinion. Fire equal heart, heart equal fire. There's been so many of these playstyle, alright? So number 2, at the end of the round, if HP is full, you convert leader Yoko into fire, and if not, the column under leader Yoko into heart runes. Alright, so in my opinion, I feel that this team don't really have a problem in terms of recovery. And then number 3, which is the very interesting part, turn members of Gurren into fire attribute. So regardless of what attribute that Gurren card is going to convert into fire when you bring them in a Yoko team. Right, something like how you play Ultraman Tiga previously, when Gaia becomes light and Dinah becomes light as well. Something like that. Okay, so more on that later. So if you guys have not taken a look at the non-jackpot active skill, right, do hop over and take a look, and then maybe come back here after that, right, to have a more in-depth review for Yoko. Alright, so last but not least, CD of leader and ally -5 after entering the stage, meaning leader ally Yoko, and Yoko active skill is CD5, which is what I'm going to talk about in the next slide. Moving on. So Yoko's at CD. Oh wait, wrong slide. Jesus Christ. So I'm gonna just do this in one take. So I'm not gonna edit that out. So Yoko CD5, right, rifle shot. So upon skill activation and at the end of each round, right, turn light into fire, enchanted fire, and dark into enchanted heart, right? So we can see that there is pretty much an enchantment at every single battle, right? So no problem, there's gonna be 2 attribute lesser on the board every single round. Okay, so leader attack times 3. So yeah, you kind of boost yourself if you're playing Yoko as leader. Okay, so when all runestones are dissolved in the first batch, CD of characters of Gurren -3, right? So of course, with 2 attributes lesser on the board, it's easier for you to do a full board clear, but I believe for some newbie players, it's going to be pretty hard as well to trigger this -3 constantly, right? So, last part, number 4. Before attacking enemy, deal 2 million non-attributive damage to an enemy. Dissolving runes is necessary, okay. And then this will be dealt regardless of defense and enchanted runestone shield. So this sniping damage, right, would be good in terms of getting rid of invisible shield and stuff like that, or high defense. But nowadays, monsters with high defense have high HP as well. So 2 million is not going to do jack shit with for mobs, enemies nowadays, right? But most importantly, there's a snipe damage, so we can passively get rid of the invisibility shield if there's any. Okay, so this card can be deactivated anytime. Upon deactivation, it gives you enchanted runestones of the 5 attribute. Alright, so that is for you to counter quintet elemental shield and stuff like that. Alright, so one thing I foresee, one problem of Yoko would probably be like a enchanted what am I gonna say? Enchanted damage. Enchanted runes. Dissolving enchanted runes will deal 0 damage kind of enemy. Right? So on a normal basis, they kind of you kind of already have this enchanted board. Okay, so it's very difficult to bypass this anti-enchanted shield if there is any. Okay, so when you come to team member selection, you don't have much choice if you want to hit the maximum multiplier. Okay, so all cards will be of fire attribute, so I foresee some sort of difficulty bypassing stages that heavily contains water enemies. Right, so yes, you can do sacrifice one slot to put in like fire Roger, right, but you will lose some multiplier, but for one round you can overpower water enemies, yes, correct, and stuff like that. But it really depends on the stage, and if you were to sacrifice one Gurren Lagann member, right, you should put in another fire human, for example, right, should it be able to help you bypass any enemies, right? It will heavily rely on what the enemy has. For example, you can bring in certain niche cards like Natsu to ignite the enemy, or you can bring in Medea to get that ×2 team attack, right? So that kind of cover up for that loss of Gurren Lagann member, right? So kind of still balance it, right? In fact, it should be a bit more. Okay, because in my opinion, I feel that all these non-jackpot cards, their active skill is not very fantastic, and they don't really complement Yoko in terms of her playstyle, right? So we are pretty much shoving all these non-jackpot cards into Yoko just to get a higher multiplier, which to me I think makes no sense, and Yoko as a playstyle is gonna die out very, very quickly, and it's going to drop out of meta very, very quickly. Okay, because Gurren Lagann's playstyle is not going to be here forever, right? For example, like Aqua Konosuba playstyle, right, non-existent to this day, right? So Yoko is going to be that scenario again once Gurren Lagann becomes non-existent once again, right? As compared to Simon and Kamina, which can still play with some sort of other Machina cards without sacrificing their multiplier, right? That's the big difference between the 1% card and Yoko, right? So that's all I have for the card review for Yoko, right? So if you will ask me what kind of members will I bring for Yoko, right, I would probably exclude the Earth Beast, which is a very niche selection unless the stage requires it. I would exclude the Earth Human, which has that fixed board of light and fire if you're playing Yoko, right? So if you were to take a look at that, only the fire runes are gonna have only the fire runes is gonna have effect, right? I didn't get why they didn't why they don't have a fire heart convert instead. It will make so much more sense. But yeah, maybe I'm not understanding the combination well, right? So if you guys feel that there's something wrong that I've said, do feel free to leave it down in the comments below. Right? But overall, I feel that the active skill for the non-jackpot cards are very conflicting in terms of Yoko's playstyle. Alright, so Lina, the one that clears Shattered Runes, is definitely a good choice for Yoko. Right, so other than that, I feel that instead of bringing all the small cards, I would bring Simon and Kamina into a Yoko team. Right, but I will not fuse them, because by fusing, it will be considered as one monster. So 2 monsters will become 1 monster, and I'll lose that multiplier. Right, so I will just put them in the team without the fusion. A bit weird, but that is probably gonna be one of the higher overall multiplier and utility in terms of putting Simon and Kamina instead of the non-jackpot cards. Right, so this is all opinions before I actually test out the gameplay. Right, so I'll probably do a finalized opinion and review once the series is launched and I have a decent in-depth understanding and I really played the team myself. Alright, so that review will come after that. Right, so that's all for now. Right, if you guys enjoyed the card review, do give it a like, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.